one consistent thing about Tunisia is that it's full of surprises. After meeting Munir in a cafe, we kept bumping into each other at random points of our little town. His kind demeanor and his great English made him easy to talk to, and after several dinners and cups of coffee, Munir's story began to grow on me. So I met up with him to hear how he came to learn English and to discover some of the factors that led him to come back to the country that he was born in. Sure, he doesn't fit the profile of my normal guest here on Multiply Tunisia, but that's part of the surprise and part of the reason that Tunisia is so interesting. Multiply Tunisia's goal is to capture the entrepreneurial spirit of Tunisia by highlighting the influencers in its startup, social innovation, and artistic communities. We're also interested in tracking the growing impact of English on these sectors and the effects that this will have on Tunisia culture. So I'm here with a friend of mine who I've met and known now for maybe about 6 or 7 months or so. Could you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story, if you will?
Sure. My name is Munir Barhoumi. I'm originally from Tunisia. I moved to United States in 1986 and met Linda Barhoumi. She's my wife now, and we've been married for about, let's say, 30 years, together 35 years. I worked, of course, since 1986, and we just moved last year. I moved in June of last year after my 2 daughters decided to live in Tunisia 2 years previous to my arrival, and part of the reason why we are here today. Obviously, I've told my wife we will move at one point, we will move back to Tunisia. But we didn't think it's going to be this early. And I think part of it because our daughters are here already, so we decided to make the move early, a little bit early.
So when you arrived in the States, you said it was 1986.
1986.
Did you speak in English at that time? Did you know English when you arrived?
No.
In the country of English at that?
No, very few words. Hello, and good morning, good afternoon. No, I didn't even go to school. I learned it from watching TV and from working in places. I started as a dishwasher and I moved on to a restaurant owner later on. But no, I didn't speak a word of English.
And so you picked up English as you went along.
Exactly, yeah.
And did you find that to be, what kind of a process did you find that to be? Was that just you picked it up as you needed? Were people kind to you? Were people, patient with you? What kind of a process was it?
They were very patient people with me, but I was forced to learn. I mean, if you live in a country, you have to speak the language. It did help me a lot. I think TV helped me a lot. I stayed home. The first 6 months I didn't work. And I watched TV all day. And I think that's probably my first teacher was the TV. And then I started working at a pizza place. And that's probably a year later I start speaking and communicating with people. It was challenging, yes. It was not easy for me.
A matter of survival, though.
A matter of survival, yes.
If you will.
I have to, yes.
So you mentioned to me earlier, you said that when you met your wife, Linda, and as you were walking through that process of engagement and marriage and stuff, you did tell her that one day you will go back to Tunisia, and now you've fulfilled on that promise.
Yes.
Was that something in your mind? You're like, oh, it'll be in the future, and did it creep up on you? Or you're like, oh, we need to make this decision now, or?
I did. I had to be fair with her, and I told her, Linda, one day I will move back. We will move back together. Made a joke. I said, and if you don't, I'm going. You're staying here. Part of the reason also I came earlier, I was diagnosed with stomach cancer in 2019. And it happened to be, I was in Tunisia when I found out. It was not easy for my wife to hear that because she was in the States, I was here, and I decided to have my surgery in Tunisia. It was cost-wise, way cheaper here.
More effective to have
More
it here.
effective, yeah. I did ask my wife to find out how much will cost me there. I didn't have insurance at that time. She said about $750,000 versus $3,000 in Tunisia. And it was very successful operation. And 4.5 years later, I'm still alive and I'm well.
So you said that your daughters actually came back to Tunisia first. Did your daughters grow up knowing and understanding Tunisia as far as the country, as far as family there? Had they come back and visited Tunisia before that time at all?
Not at all.
Really?
Actually, my older one, I have two daughters. One today she's 27, and the younger one she's 25. The older daughter, Hannah, she came when she was 2.5 years old, doesn't remember that, 6 years old, and then 9 years old. She came 3 times, but she doesn't remember well Tunisia. Years later, we came here when she was 19. Hannah was 19, Emma was 17, and they fell in love with the country. We came all together, 4 of us, and they fell in love with the country. I said, Daddy, when we graduated from college, we're moving to Tunisia. I didn't believe them back then, but almost 3 years today, they moved early. They moved here. They came and said we're staying. And in the beginning, I was scared for 2 female by themselves, 2 young girls, American. They don't know the language. They don't have friends. Yes, they do have my family, which is a little bit challenging for my family to speak English to them. But they made it, they stayed. We're in Sidi Bouzid. Here they are, they're here today. They're happy to be here. They said, we'll never go back to the United States unless we have to.
So it was a willing choice. Not only did you come back,
Yeah.
but your whole family, you brought your family with you.
Correct, and I couldn't be happier.
So I would imagine in your mind, it's kind of like a tale of 2 cities, if you will. You have old Tunisia, what you remember back in the 70s, 80s,
Correct.
compared to Tunisia that you're experiencing now and working with now. Could you describe some of the differences, some of the things, the feelings that you have about one versus the other?
Oh boy. This is a tough subject to talk about it. When I left in 1983, 84, there were not too many people, not too many cars. And I had to be true to myself. The city was cleaner, younger respected the elderly people. Today I don't see that. The city is a little bit dirtier with the politics, a little bit of politics. I'm sure we can go for hours talking about that.
Yeah, this is not a political podcast.
No.
This is a social piece.
Yes. It changed, yes, it dramatically changed. It grew, the city grew. I don't know for the best, for the worst, but I don't pay attention to the politics, but I'm here for my retirement. So I'm enjoying my time here in Sidi Bouzid with my wife and kids and my family.
Do you see opportunities? How do you feel current about the situation as far as there is a mix going on right now? For instance, there are a lot of Tunisians who are actually leaving Tunisia, going to France, going to Germany, going to the States, Canada. But we're also finding there's a certain vibe that people are willing to stay in Tunisia to invest, to say, if we want a good future of Tunisia, we need to start building it now.
Correct.
How do you feel about that?
I do encourage people, I think, to stay in Tunisia. I think it's a beautiful country. There's a lot of opportunities. For the younger one, there is no jobs. The problem is with the jobs. A lot of graduate students here, and they do not have jobs. So they're forced to move to Europe or to America for a better life and better opportunity. But there is opportunity in Tunisia. It's just you need a little bit of push, you need a little bit of money to start a business.
No, from my perspective, I see folks like you and stories like yours as an opportunity to start, how do you say, being a part of the solution for that better future. So thank you very much for coming back to Tunisia. And we're excited to see where Munir and his family will end up in the future.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Thanks, man.
Multiply Tunisia is brought to you by 11 Talents. At 11 Talents, we consult, design, and multiply. Find out more by following us on our Facebook page, our Instagram feed, or by visiting our website at 11talents.com. At 11 Talents, we start with you.